And the Oscar goes to Nomadland.
Nomadland just became the latest film to win the coveted Academy Award for Best Picture. But in a year and an extended award season filled with so many powerful films and equally powerful performances, did it deserve to win? Let's talk about it. For those who aren't entirely familiar with the film, it's based on the nonfiction book of the same name written by Jessica Bruder, and it details the trend of older Americans getting up and becoming van dwellers during America's Great Recession between 2007 and 2009. Taking place a few years later, circa 2011, the film follows a widow by the name of Fern, played by Frances McDormand, who becomes one of said van dwellers after the only source of income in her town, a plant, shuts down. As she travels across the states and takes small seasonal jobs, she not only comes to witness the country's hidden treasures, but she also comes to experience life's hidden pleasures too. While not entirely relevant, the film still provides a pretty great frame of reference for a point in the country's history that most barely remember. Plus, it celebrates a group of people that the world's seemingly forgotten about. And while it's far from a big budget blockbuster, it's not your average indie either. There were literally ordinary people cast in this, telling their real stories and truths. For that, of all the Best Picture nominees this year, this was by far the most authentic. But that doesn't mean it was the best. Even with Chloe Zhao's incredible and literally undefeated direction. Now, those familiar with my channel might have noticed that I didn't do a review for this film, and also that it didn't even crack my list of favorite films from 2020. That doesn't mean I didn't like it though. I just thought some films were better, and a lot are. However, I like to believe that the year's Best Picture is one that should capture the current zeitgeist. Despite being written a few years ago and being directed by a woman of color, it doesn't feel right to give the Academy's top prize to the story about an impoverished group of people told from the perspective of a white woman. While yes, I get that very few Best Picture winners have ever been about women, I still think there might have been a couple of better, more relevant choices in the gallery. The first one being Promising Young Woman. And okay, I can see how people might call this a hypocritical choice considering that both the director and the star are white women, but if that's your biggest takeaway, then you're missing the point. If anything, the best thing the two films have in common is the fact that they're both about survivors. But while Nomadland follows a group of people who cope with their problems by literally putting them in their rear view, the catharsis for our main character in Promising Young Woman is dealing with the pain head on. What makes it even better, in my opinion, is both its resonation with the Me Too movement and its message about how not all revenge has to be violent. That's why I think Judas and the Black Messiah would have made a great Best Picture winner too. Sure, it's topical considering everything going on in the nation with police brutality and racial inequality, but more than anything, this story of Fred Hampton just shows that despite his arsenal and his influence, even in the face of hate and injustice, he knew that the best weapon would come from the power of unity. Now, that's not to say that any of the other nominated films couldn't win or weren't relevant either. For instance, Minari reminded people of the meaning of the American dream again. Sound of Metal showed us that even with our five senses, we're still blind to the world's beauty sometimes. And Mank, well, nah, I got nothing. Where most of the films nominated for Best Picture had a lot to say, I feel like Nomadland instead just had a lot to show us, and to me, that just wasn't enough. In a year filled with isolation and introspection, I get why this film might have stuck with people. And while it is objectively good and one of the better films of 2020, I just don't think it deserved Best Picture. I mean, it didn't deserve to win Best Actors either, but that's a totally different conversation for a totally different time. Now, at the end of the day, the Academy is made up of thousands of people, and I'm just me. So, I have to hand the question off to you guys. Do you think Nomadland should have taken the gold? Guys, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to view this video. It really does mean the world to me. And once again, I ask, who do you think should have won Best Picture this year? Let me know down below. That being said, if you're new here, feel free to consider subscribing. I post new movie-related content weekly, and as a matter of fact, I should probably get back to work. So until next time, I'm Dempsey Pilat. Take care.